Okay, all of you see the problem. Fifth problem. In work power energy, exercise 2, level 1. Okay, page number 275. Okay, problem number is 5. Okay, a body of mass 5 kg at rest is acted upon by two mutually perpendicular forces. A body of mass 5 kg that is at rest, so initial velocity is 0. Okay, u is equal to 0. It is experienced by two perpendicular forces. It is experienced by two perpendicular forces. F1 is equal to 6 Newton and F2 is equal to 8 Newton. Okay, then after t seconds, t is equal to 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, what is the kinetic energy? So to find the kinetic energy, we should find velocity after t seconds. Then we can find the kinetic energy k, that is equal to question mark. Okay, okay, all of you look at the board now. Okay, you see here there is a body having mass m. It is experienced by two perpendicular forces. F1 is equal to 6 Newton and other force is 8 Newton. These two are perpendicular to each other. Okay, now here initially the body is at rest, but whenever it experiences two perpendicular forces like this, then the body will accelerate. No, whenever the force acts on a body, the body will accelerate. No, see here there is no single force, two forces acts on the body. Okay, that's why the resultant of these two forces acts in between these two in some other direction. No? So this is the resultant force. What is the resultant force? Because if you know the resultant force, then we can find the acceleration. So resultant force is equal to, as these two vector forces are perpendicular to each other, the resultant of these two forces is equal to F1 square plus F2 square plus 2F1 F2 cos 90. Cos 90 is 0. That's why we have this one. So square root of F1 square means 6 square, F2 square means 8 square. 64 plus 36 means 100, that is equal to 10 Newton. Therefore, resultant force is equal to 10 Newton. Therefore, what is the acceleration? Because if you know acceleration, then we can find the velocity, then kinetic energy can be calculated. Okay, therefore, what is the velocity after, what is the acceleration? So, acceleration is equal to net force acts on a body by mass. Acceleration is equal to net force acts on a body by mass. Okay, this is equal to net force is 5 by mass is 5. Net force is 10 by mass is 5. So 2 meter per second square. As the resultant force acts on the body in this direction, the body will travel in this direction. It neither travel along this direction nor along this direction. It will travel along this direction with this acceleration. So after 10 seconds, what is the velocity of a body? So from v is equal to u plus at. V we have to find, because if you know v value, then kinetic energy can be calculated. So u means 0 plus a means 2 into t means 10 seconds. No, so that is equal to 20 meter per second. Therefore, what is the kinetic energy? Kinetic energy k is equal to half mv square. No, so half m means 5 k's into v square means 20 square. Okay, therefore this is equal to, kinetic energy is equal to, if you simplify them, then here we see it is 400. 400 by 2, that means 200. 200 into 5, 1000. So 1000 joule. 1000 joule or 1 kilojoule. So here 1000 joule is given. Okay, this is the answer. In this way you can find. Okay. Okay, all of you see 1000 joule, or we can write 1 kilojoule also, because 1000 means 1 kilo. So 1 kilojoule also we can write. Okay. Fourth problem was completed. Somebody asking fourth problem. Already fourth problem I think I taught in the class only. Fourth problem I taught in the class only. Okay. Right. Next, sixth one. Sixth one is very, very important. All of you see the sixth problem. Two masses 10 gram and 40 gram are moving with kinetic energies in the ratio. Here, two bodies having masses 10 gram and M2 is equal to 40 gram are moving with kinetic energies in the ratio K1 by K2 is equal to 9 by 25. Kinetic energies ratio is 9 by 25. Their linear momenta is the ratio between their linear momenta they asked. So P1 by P2 is equal to question mark. Of course, it is easy problem, but important. Okay, now all of you look at the board. Yeah, small k, not capital K. Kilojoule means kJ. Okay, this can also be written as kilojoule. 1 kilojoule. 1 kilo means 1000. So 1 into 1000, 1000 joule. That's why this can be written like this. Here, K is a small letter. We should not write capital K. Okay. Okay, ask me, Anush, what is our doubts? Okay, I will meet off you. Anush.
Hello,
Ask me
sir.
doubt, Anush.
Hello, sir.
Good morning. Chapna, come on, speak.
Sir, good morning, sir. Acceleration formula is velocity upon time, no, sir.
Acceleration?
Formula is velocity upon time, no, sir.
Acceleration depends on velocity. No, acceleration depends on the force only. It does not depend on time. Here you see, here these are the two constant forces acts on them. That's why resultant force is also constant. Whenever the F is constant, already mass of the body remains constant. That's why acceleration remains constant. Because of acceleration, the velocity goes on changes. So that velocity acquired depends on the time or depends on the displacement covered.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No, its actual formula is velocity upon time, no, sir. But acceleration.
Velocity upon time, not velocity upon time. Change in velocity by time. You see, acceleration is called V minus U by T, no?
Yes, sir.
V minus U by T is the acceleration.
Yes, sir.
Okay, change in velocity, not
Yes.
velocity. Suppose if the body is at rest, as the initial velocity is 0, then we can write V by T is equal to A. Actually,
yes.
A is equal to V minus U by T. If U is equal to 0, then we can write V by T. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, now, welcome. Okay, right. I think you have seen the problem. Now, you see, have you seen the problem or not? Have you seen the problem? You see, sixth problem. Two masses 10 gram, 40 gram are moving with kinetic energies 9:25. Then the ratio of their linear momenta they asked. Okay, all of you look at the board. Here, mass of the two bodies are given m1, m2, and their kinetic energies are in the ratio of this one. Then what is the ratio between their momenta they asked? What is the relation between kinetic energy and momentum? Already we are having relation between kinetic energy and momentum. No? Kinetic energy K is equal to, we can write P square by 2m. Already I said in the class. Okay, therefore, from this, here they asked the ratio between the momenta. That's why P is equal to, we can write root 2m into K now. Root 2m into K. Here 2 is constant. 2 is constant. That's why we can write in both the cases, in the formula 2 is constant. That's why we can write P is directly proportional to m into K now. Therefore, two cases. P1 by P2 is equal to root of, as P is directly proportional to root m by K, P1 by P2 is equal to root of m1 by m2 we can write into K1 by K2. If inverse relation is there, m2 by m1 we have to write. Now we substitute the data. As it is the ratio, directly we can substitute in any system. Any system is both must be in the same system, whether they are in kilogram or grams, as it is the ratio. So m1 means 10 by m2 means 40 into K1 by K2 ratio already given 9 by 25. 9 by 25. Therefore, this is equal to, okay, 4s are. Therefore, 3 by 2 into 5, 10. So P1 by P2 is equal to 3 is to 10. P1 by P2 is equal to 3 by 10. So P1 is to P2 is equal to 3 is to 10. This is the answer. Okay. Yeah, 3 is to 10. Vamshi Krishna. Next, seventh problem. Seventh problem. All of you see the seventh problem. A ball is projected vertically down with initial velocity from a height 20 meter onto a horizontal floor. Okay, one body is projected down with initial velocity onto the floor from a height of h is equal to 20 meter, from a height of 20 meter onto the horizontal floor. During the impact, it loses 50% of energy and rebounds to the same height. I think seventh problem was completed now. You respond. I think seventh problem was completed. Seventh problem is over now. Okay, next eighth problem we will discuss. All of you see the eighth problem. All of you see eighth problem because seventh was completed. So eighth problem, all of you see eighth problem. Important one. A particle moves in a straight line with retardation proportional to its displacement. Okay, its loss of kinetic energy for any displacement x is proportional to dash. So here, okay. Greninja, shall I solve once? Okay, if time permits, at last, at the end of the class, you remind me. Okay, I will explain. Greninja. Okay. Right. Here you see eighth problem. Now all of you look at the board. Eighth problem. A particle moves in a straight line with retardation. Suppose A is the acceleration. Retardation is minus A. That is proportional to the displacement of the body. Proportional to displacement of the body. Its loss of kinetic energy for any displacement is proportional to loss of kinetic energy. They asked it. To find the loss of kinetic energy, we need the velocity of a body. Okay, that's why from this we have to find velocity. Here they asked the relation between displacement and we had to find the loss of kinetic energy with displacement. So we have to obtain the relation between kinetic energy and displacement. Displacement is given as x. That's why you write x. Retardation means negative acceleration. That is proportional to displacement x. Okay, now we have to obtain the relation between velocity and displacement x. Then we can find the relation between kinetic energy and displacement x. Okay. Here, how we can write velocity in terms of acceleration in terms of v and x? Anybody else? How we can write acceleration in terms of velocity and displacement? Of course, dv by dt we can write. dv by dt we can write. No, here acceleration continuously varies with the displacement. That's why it is the variable acceleration. In case of variable acceleration, I think we can write like this. No, actually, general formula we know acceleration means dv by dt. Okay, that is equal to some here this implies minus a is equal to some constant k into x. Okay, now a can be written as dv by dt, so minus is already there, k into x. But we need time term is not there, but in the option they asked the relation between kinetic energy and displacement. To find the kinetic energy, we need the velocity. So we have to obtain the relation between velocity and displacement. That's why dv by dx, dv by dt into, just you multiply with the dx and divide with the dx. It makes no difference now. If you multiply with the dx and divide with the dx, it makes no difference. Now you see, already I said in the integration only, differentiation integration method only, dv by dx you write dv by dx. Now dv by dx into dx by dt. That is equal to kx. What about dx by dt? What about dx by dt? Change in displacement by time gives what? What about dx by dt? Come on, you respond. What is dx by dt? Velocity. So we can write this dx by dt as velocity. Therefore, instead of dx by dt, you write v into dv by dx. So whenever we need the relation between v and x from acceleration formula, we can write acceleration can be written as simply v into dv by dx. That is equal to here instead of dx by dt I have written v, dv by dx as it is I have written, that is equal to kx. That is equal to kx. Therefore, v dv is equal to minus kx into dx. We can write now. Just I did cross multiplication. Okay, v dv is equal to minus kx dx. Okay, therefore, to obtain v and x relation, you integrate them. Okay, here x limits means from x is equal to 0 to at any displacement x. X is equal to 0 to x. Okay. Right. Initial velocity is say u. At x equal to 0, initial velocity is not mentioned. Suppose it is say u. After the displacement x, its velocity is say v. Okay, now integral v dv means v square by 2. V square by 2 limits u to v is equal to minus k is constant. Integral x dx means x square by 2. Okay, when you substitute limits also, you will get the same. Even you substitute the limits, you will get same. Now, when you substitute the limits here, first upper limit we have to substitute. Instead of v, you substitute capital V. Therefore, v square. Before substituting lower limit, you put minus sign. So minus u square by 2 whole by 2 is equal to minus k into x square by 2. Here 2 to cancel now. Therefore, v square minus u square. Okay, you do not cancel that 2. You keep like that only because we need the kinetic energy now. So therefore, 2 you keep like this only. Now you multiply on both sides with mass. You multiply on both sides with mass. You see, half m v square minus half m u square. That means change in kinetic energy now. Change in kinetic energy is equal to minus m by 2 k into x square. Okay, here minus sign represents there is a loss of kinetic energy. Therefore, here the question is loss of kinetic energy he mentioned here there only. So therefore, loss of kinetic energy means minus delta k. That is equal to mk by 2 into x square. That implies loss of kinetic energy, the minus delta k, directly proportional to x square, no? Because they asked the relation between loss of kinetic energy and x square. So loss of kinetic energy is directly proportional to x square. Loss of kinetic energy he mentioned in the problem only. That's why that is directly proportional to x square. So x square is the answer. In this way you have to do. X square is the answer. It's very, very important problem. Approach is important. It is important for advance. Okay, next. All of you see the 9th problem. All of you see the 9th problem. Okay, what about 9th problem? A uniform chain of length capital is placed on a smooth table of height h, h greater than L, with a length L hanging from the edge of the table. The chain begins to slide down the table. When the end of the chain is about to leave the edge of the table, then its velocity is dash. So here, On the surface of the table, there is a chain. A uniform chain of length L is placed on the smooth table of height H. Of course, H is greater than L. The height of the table is greater than L, chain length of the chain. With a length small L hanging from the edge of the table. Small L is hanging from the edge of the table. Okay. Now, the chain begins to slide down the table. When the end of the chain is about to leave the edge of the table, its velocity. Okay. So, when end of chain leaves the table, velocity V is equal to question mark. Okay. All of you look at the board. Okay, right, Venu. Right, you see, here a uniform chain of total length of the chain is capital L, in which smaller length of the chain is hanging from the edge of the table. Okay, and the height of the table is greater than length of the chain. That means even the total length of the chain is hanging like this. That chain does not touches the floor because the height of the table is greater. Okay, that's why whenever here it is a smooth table. That's why when you keep the chain on the table, so that a little bit length of the chain is kept hanging from the edge of the table, because of this weight of the hanging chain, then immediately it slides and finally it leaves the edge of the table. So at the instant whenever it leaves the edge of the table, what is the kinetic energy acquired? You see, initially you take this as the reference point. The edge of the table surface is the reference point you take. Initially, what is the potential energy of this? As this part of the chain is also at the reference level only, this part of the chain is not having any potential energy. Here, this part of the chain is having potential energy. So what is that potential energy? As the hanging chain is the extended mass, you consider the central mass concept. So central mass lies here. At what distance central mass lies? From this reference line. From this reference line, central mass is at a distance L by 2, no? From the reference line, this central mass is below the reference line. That's why potential energy is negative. If it is above the reference line, potential energy is positive. If it is below the reference line, potential energy is negative. That's why initial potential energy of the system, initial potential energy of the chain means the potential energy of this chain on the table and potential energy of this hanging part. That is equal to potential energy of the chain on the table. It is at the same reference level. That's why it has no potential energy. H is equal to 0. For this part, potential energy is equal to, as the mass of this hanging part lies below the reference line, we had put minus sign. So minus mass of this hanging part. Total mass of the chain is say M, capital M, and the total length is already given capital L. Then what is the mass per unit length of the chain means M by L. Then for this part, what is the mass means into L. It is the mass per unit length into length of the chain hanging is L. That's why this gives the mass of the hanging part into Z into H. H means the distance of here, the distance of this central mass from the reference line, that is L by 2, no? That's why into L by 2. L by 2. So this is equal to minus mz L square by 2L. This is the initial potential energy of the system. Okay, now whenever the edge of the table ready to leave the surface, whenever the edge of the table, suppose you see table is like this, whenever the chain slides and last edge of the table, last edge of the chain ready to leave this total length is equal to L. Now here, what is the reason why the chain falls? What is the reason why the chain falls? Tell me. What is the reason why the chain falls? Anybody else? Come on, you respond. Smooth surface, yeah, due to gravity. Pavan Shiva, due to gravity. Okay, no friction is there. Due to gravity, it comes down because the weight of this hanging part, or the gravitational force acts on this hanging part. this gravity pulls this hanging part downwards. At the same time, whenever it is pulled down, then by means of this chain, the remaining part of the chain is pulled like this. As no friction is there, immediately it slides down, and before it leaves the table, the position of the chain is like this. At that time, what is the potential energy? So final potential energy. Final potential energy UF is equal to, whenever the body ready to leave, then whenever the chain ready to leave the table, edge of the table, then center mass is here now. So actually the surface of the table is considered as the reference line. From the reference line where the center mass lies means at a distance L by 2. Okay, now what is the potential energy of this chain with respect to reference line? Final potential energy is equal to minus, because the center mass of the chain is below the reference line. This is the reference line now. Surface of the table is considered as the reference line. So our reference plane. From the reference line, the center mass is at a distance L below the L by 2 below the reference line. Here, as total chain is there, total mass at the center mass is equal to M. We need not write like this. Okay, therefore potential energy is minus mg into L by 2. It is the final potential energy. Okay, therefore, what is the change in kinetic energy? Here, whenever you see, the loss of potential energy is equal to change in kinetic energy, no? Because already yesterday we have studied that according to conservation of energy principle, the energy can neither be created nor destroyed. The energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Initially, the chain is having this much potential energy, Okay, but whenever the chain ready to leave the surface of the table, at that time final potential energy is this one. So what is the loss of potential energy? Loss of potential energy means initial potential energy is greater, no? That's why loss of potential energy du delta U is equal to initial potential energy minus final potential energy. That is equal to kinetic energy gained or change in kinetic energy or gain in kinetic energy. Okay, therefore gain in kinetic energy is equal to final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy, that is equal to Uy minus Uf. But initially the chain is at rest. Before the chain ready to leave, ready to slide, the chain is at rest. That's why initial velocity of the chain is 0. Hence kinetic energy, initial kinetic energy is 0. So final kinetic energy is equal to what they asked, velocity. Okay, final kinetic energy is equal to initial potential energy minus mg L square by 2L minus final potential energy means minus of mg L by 2. Okay, then you take mg by 2 common in both of them. Mg by 2 when you take common, then L square by minus, no, minus means plus here. Okay, 1 minute. This is equal to final kinetic energy of the chain means half into mass of the chain total. Whenever the edge of one end of the chain leaves the edge of the table, at that time what is the velocity of the chain, entire chain they asked. That's why mass of the chain m into velocity square. Okay, this is equal to, here is a minus means plus mg L by 2 minus mg L square by 2L. Okay, now here we take mg by 2 common. Okay, then L minus L square by capital L you will get. Then you take LCM, mg by 2 of L square minus small l square by capital L, no? Therefore, this is equal to half me square value. Here 2 cancel, cancel. Therefore, what about v square? V square is equal to g into something, or v is equal to root g into capital L square minus small l square whole by capital L. This is the formula for velocity of the body, velocity of the chain at the instant whenever the chain leaves the edge of the table. So root g into capital L square minus small l square by capital L. That is the answer. So option 3 is correct. Option 3 is correct. Here, because of gravity, when you leave the chain like this, because of gravity, the chain falls, no? Because of gravity, this hanging part of the chain is pulled downwards. the weight of the hanging part of the chain, because of weight of the hanging part of the chain is pulling downwards. At the same time, the weight of this part of the chain also acts downwards direction, but at the same time, the table exerts the reaction force on this part of the chain and it protects to fall this part of the chain. But because of this weight of this chain, as the chain is pulling like this, then the tension is developed here and the tension pulls this chain to fall downwards. Okay, in this way, whenever you leave the chain, then chain slides down like this. At initial, the smaller length of the chain is hanging from the edge of the table, that is given. Okay, but because of gravity, as the chain starts falling like this, work is done by the gravity only. Because of gravitational force or weight of the body only, the chain is falling like this, sliding like this. Okay, that means work is done by the gravity. Gravity is the conservative force. That's why if any work is done by the conservative force, is there any change in the total energy of the system or total energy of the body? Yesterday only we have seen, in case of freely falling body or vertically projected body, total kinetic energy does not alter, but total energy does not change, but one form of energy will be converted into another form. No, okay, so one form of energy will be converted into another form. That's why here, first of all, whenever the chain is like this, you take this as the reference line. Whenever the chain is like this, here this part of the chain on the table is at the reference level only, so this part is having no initial potential energy. But from the reference line here, because of this hanging chain, this is having some potential energy, that is the internal potential energy. So okay, what is the internal potential energy? Initial potential energy. What is the initial potential energy? As the hanging part is kind of having, in case of hanging part, as the mass is distributed along its length, we have to consider the central mass concept. Okay, here exactly in case of hanging part, central mass lies exactly at the midpoint. Okay, at the midpoint, the total mass of the hanging part can be imagined, small m. Say mass of the hanging part initially is small m. Then what is the potential energy of this hanging part with respect to reference line? From the reference line, as the central mass of the hanging part is below the reference line, the potential energy for this is negative. If the central mass is above the reference line, potential energy is positive. That's why initial potential energy is equal to mass of this part. Initial potential energy is equal to mass of this hanging part into z into distance of the central mass from the reference line, that is below, that is at a distance L by 2. That's why minus L by 2 we have to write. So minus mg into L by 2. What is m? Mass of the hanging part. What is the mass of the hanging part? The total mass of the chain having length L is a capital M. Then mass per unit length means m by L. No? So if the mass per unit length, which is called linear mass density, that is m by L, then what is the mass of this hanging part of length L? That is equal to m by L into L. This is small m into z into L by 2. Already minus I have written here. Then we got initial energy, this one. Okay, whenever here, because of this weight of the hanging part, as long as the chain is chain comes down, sliding down, at the instant whenever the last edge of the chain leaves the table, the position of the chain is like this. Whenever the last edge of the chain leaves the edge of last end of the chain leaves the edge of the table, at that time the chain is like this. So at this instant, what is the speed they asked? At this instant, what is the speed they asked? Speed v is equal to question mark. That is the question. Okay, at the instant whenever last end of the chain leaves the edge of the table, at that time the position of the chain is like this, so that the central mass of the hanging chain is exactly at the midpoint. No, that means from the reference level, from the reference line or reference level, at what distance central mass lies means this total length of the chain is given as capital. That's why at a distance L by 2 it is there. Okay, therefore what is the potential energy of the chain now? In this case also, from the reference level, the central mass is below the reference line. That's why potential energy here also negative. So UF is equal to minus mass of this entire chain, capital M, into Z into this central mass is at a distance L by 2. Actually, mz into h we have to write. Mz into this central mass is at a distance below the reference line, at a distance L by 2. That's why mz into minus L by 2 we have to write. Of course, I have written directly minus mg L by 2. Okay, now, so whenever the chain falls down, as it coming down, the potential energy always last when the body comes down. That's why loss of potential energy is equal to, no doubt, initial potential energy is greater. So initial potential energy, loss of potential energy is equal to initial potential energy minus final potential energy. Initial potential energy minus final potential energy. That is equal to loss of potential energy. That is equal to gain in kinetic energy. That is equal to gain in kinetic energy. Okay. Here definitely loss of the total energy is constant. No, whenever the total energy is constant, according to law of conservation of energy, according to law of conservation of energy principle, as the total energy is conserved, loss of potential energy must be equal to gain in kinetic energy. Loss of potential energy must be equal to gain in kinetic energy. Loss of potential energy, that's why minus. Loss of potential energy is equal to gain in kinetic energy. Okay. So loss of potential energy means minus delta U, that is equal to gain in kinetic energy delta K. Or the change in potential energy plus change in kinetic energy is equal to 0. That means net change in energy of the chain is equal to 0. According to conservation of energy, total energy does not change, you know. Total energy does not change. Therefore, according to law of conservation of energy, we can write change in potential energy plus change in kinetic energy is equal to 0. Because total energy is conserved. Even there is a change in potential energy, change in kinetic energy is there, the net change in energy of the chain becomes 0. According to conservation of energy principle. From this delta K is equal to minus delta U, we can write now. Delta K is equal to minus delta U, we can write. Okay. Here delta U means final potential energy minus initial potential energy. Okay, plus delta K. Delta K means final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy is equal to 0. Or this initial kinetic energy is 0. So final kinetic energy is equal to minus of UF minus UI. Minus of UF minus UI. So this is equal to UI minus UF. UI minus UF. Okay. U initial means, what is the U initial value? U initial is this one, no? So minus, again, if you substitute like this, already you see, this is equal to 0. So final kinetic energy is equal to UI minus UF. We got UI minus UF. If you substitute here, finally you'll get like this. This is a concept. Okay. Siddharth, you only asked now? Okay, right. Next. We go to next problem. Tenth problem, you see. You see I will upload the video. You see, Mr. R, you see this problem in the video so that you can revise again. Already I explained second time. Okay. So Mr. R, you go to YouTube video. Today I will upload in YouTube. Okay. Already I am recording this video. Right. Next. All of you see the 10th problem. All of you see the 10th problem. Have you seen the problem? 10th problem. 1:4 answer. Okay, we'll see. The ratio of the energy required to accelerate a car from rest to 20 meter per second square to the energy needed to accelerate the car from 20 to 40 meter per second square is energy required to accelerate the car from velocity u to v is equal to change in kinetic energy, half m v square minus half m u square. It is the change in kinetic energy. Actually, whenever the velocity increases from u to v, kinetic energy increases. Whatever the kinetic energy increases, that is the increase in kinetic energy, or that is the work done. Work done or energy required. Work done or energy required to increase the velocity from u to v. So the ratio of the energy required to accelerate the car. Energy required to accelerate the car from u to v is equal to change in kinetic energy. Okay, that's why here this is the energy required to increase the velocity from u to energy required to accelerate the car from U to V is equal to delta E, that is equal to change in kinetic energy. Delta E is, here we see, is equal to m by 2, we take common, V square minus U square, no? Here m by 2 is constant. That's why energy required to accelerate the car from U to V is directly proportional to V square minus U square. There are two cases. The ratio between the energy required to increase the velocity from U to V, in two cases they asked. That's why delta E1 by delta E2 is equal to, in first case, what is the final velocity? Velocity increase, the car accelerates from rest to 20 meter per second square, 20 meter per second. That's why V is 20 square minus U means 0, 0 square, by, in second case, the car accelerates from 20 to 40. That's why 40 is the final velocity. So final velocity square minus initial velocity square. So this is equal to 20 square means 20 into 20. Here 20 square we can take common. No? Here 20 square we can take common. When you take 20 square common, then this can be written as 2 into 20 whole square. 20 square you write outside. Then 2 square minus 1 is there. That means 4 minus 1. Here 20 square cancel. Therefore, delta E1 by delta E2 is equal to 1 by 3. So 1:3 is the answer, no? Yeah, 1:3. Okay, you are right. 1:3. Therefore, ratio between the energy required in both the cases is equal to 1:3. Very good. That is the answer. Okay, next. You see the 11th problem. Have you seen this problem? Here, what is the ratio between the energy required to accelerate the car from rest to a velocity, something is given, to a velocity 20 meter per second, and the energy required to accelerate the car from 20 to 40 meter per second, they asked it. Okay, energy here, whenever the car is accelerated from rest initial velocity to final velocity V, then change in kinetic energy is the change in kinetic energy or gain in kinetic energy is the energy given to the car. That is the energy required. That's why energy required is equal to change in kinetic energy. Here in these two terms, you take m by 2 common, then delta is equal to m by 2 into V square minus U square. As m by 2 is same, constant in both the cases. For the same car, here you observing the energy required. That's why m by 2 is same. That's why delta E is proportional to V square minus U square. Or in both the cases, delta E1 by delta E2 is equal to, in first case, the car accelerates from rest to velocity 20 meter per second. That's why final velocity 20 square minus initial velocity 0, so 0 square, by, in second case, car accelerates from 20 meter per second to 40 meter per second. That's why 40 square minus 20 square. Simplification gives delta E1 is to delta E2 is equal to 1:3. So in both the cases, the ratio between the energy required are, that is 1:3. Okay, next. You see the 11th problem. All of you see the 11th problem. All of you see the 11th problem. A force of 10 Newton acts on a body of mass 1 kg at rest for 10 seconds, and the body acquires a kinetic energy K1. A force of 10 Newton acts on a body of mass 1 kg at rest through a distance 10 meter, and the body acquires a kinetic energy K2. Then the ratio of the K1 to K2. Here you see, a force of 10 Newton acts on a body of mass 1 kg at rest for 10 seconds. Okay. Here, mass of the body is given 1 kg. Okay. A force of 10 Newton acts on a body for a time 10 seconds. So in first case, time for which the force acts is equal to 10 seconds. Then it acquires some kinetic energy, delta K is equal to K1 given. In next case, the same force 10 Newton only acts on a body of mass 1 kg at rest through a distance of 10 meter and acquires a kinetic energy. Okay. So here, in next case, the same force is applied. Okay. The same force is applied on a body for a distance up to a distance travel 10 meter. Then the change in kinetic energy in second case is equal to K2. Then what about the ratio between K1 to K2? That is the question they asked. It's a somewhat important problem. Okay, I think you have seen the problem. Now all of you look at the board. What, Amritesh Kumar? 50 is to 1 answer. Maybe 50. Okay, maybe 50 is to 1. Yeah, 50 is to 1. What, Amritesh Kumar? What is your doubt? From where 4 minus 1? Where 4 minus 1? Okay, here I have here this 40 can be written as 2 into 20, no? 2 into 20 whole square. That means 2 square into 20 square minus 20 square. In both the terms, 20 square I have taken common. 2 square minus 1 is there. Means 4 minus 1. Okay. Amritesh Kumar. Okay. Right. Now, you see, in first case, the force acts on a body for a time t is equal to 10 seconds. Then initial velocity is 0. Here also initial velocity is 0. Okay. Whenever the force is applied on a body for a time, this one, then what is the change in kinetic energy? That change in kinetic energy is K1. When the same force is applied on a body for a distance 10 meter, that means up to 10 meter distance, the same forces continue to act on a body. Then what is the kinetic energy acquired? In here also, in second case also, the body is initially at rest. Okay, in first case, you see, time is given, force is given. So first of all, initially the body starts from rest. As the force acts on a body, acceleration is equal to F by m, means 10 by 1 case, that is equal to 10 meter per second square. The force acts on a body for 10 seconds. Then what is the velocity acquired? If you know the velocity acquired, then we can find the kinetic energy. Okay. So from v square, v is equal to u plus at, we can use now. From v is equal to u plus at. V means we have to find u0 plus a means 10 into t means 10. Therefore, v is equal to 100 meter per second. Therefore, in first case, change in kinetic energy delta K1 is equal to given as K1. That is equal to final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy. Final kinetic energy half mv square minus initial kinetic energy is 0 because initial velocity is 0, no, in this case. So this is equal to K1 is equal to half m means, of course, in first case velocity acquired is say v1, v is equal to v1 say, then v1 is equal to this one. You keep like this, half m into v1 square. You keep this equation as 1. Next, in second case, initial velocity is 0, acceleration is equal to, as the same force acts on the body, the acceleration is same, 10 meter per second square, no, 10 meter per second square, and it is acting, this force, the force acting on a body for 10 meter distance. That's why s is equal to 10 meter. Then what is the velocity acquired? Velocity is equal to v2 say. That is how much. Here the relation among these is v square minus u square is equal to 2as. V square means v2 square minus u means 0, 2, a means 10 into s means again 10. Therefore, v2 square is equal to 200, no? Therefore, sorry, in this case, what is the kinetic energy acquired? In the second case, kinetic energy acquired delta K2, that is equal to K2, delta K2 is equal to K2 is given, that is equal to final velocity, final kinetic energy half mv2 square minus initial kinetic energy half mu square. So this is equal to, okay, that is equal to K2 is equal to, that means change in kinetic energy in the second case is equal to half mv2 square minus initial velocity 0. That's why K2 is equal to half m into v2 square. This is equation 2. Now we divide 1 and 2 because they asked K1 by K2, no? So 1 by 2. 1 by 2 means K1 by K2 is equal to, K1 means half m into v1 square by K2 means half m into v2 square. So m's cancel because in both the cases same body is there, v1 by v2 whole square. That's all. Therefore, K1 by K2 is equal to v1 we got 100 by, sorry, v1 is 100 by v2 square, okay. Here v1 square by v2 square we are getting, no, v1 square means 100 into 100 by v2 square is directly 200 we got, so 200. So 100 2s are 250s are. Therefore, K1 by K2 or K1 is to K2 is equal to, okay, ratio they asked. K1 is to K2 is equal to 50 is to 1. This is the answer. Okay. Yeah, very good. Yeah, 50 is to 1. Vamshi Krishna Madhur Mehta. 50 is to 1. Very good. What Naveen Sai, what is 4 by 1 or 1 by 4 you have written? Yeah, 50 by 1. Right. Next. Okay, next. Okay, have you taken screenshot? Right. Next one. In level 2, you read the problem number 1 in level 2. All of you read problem number 1 in level 2. Okay, in level 2, page number 276. Page number 276. Problem number 1. Okay, you read that problem 1. A juggler keeps 4 balls in air. He throws each ball vertically upwards with the same speed at equal intervals of time. The maximum height attained by each ball is 20 meters. Find the kinetic energy of the first ball when fourth ball is in hand. Assume that the mass of each ball is 10 gram. Okay. So here, all of you look at the board. No, even in laptop also, laptop or even in computer also, we can take the screenshot. Some control alt something is there. Okay, tomorrow you ask me. Right. So all of you look at the board now. A juggler keeps 4 balls in air. He throws each ball vertically upwards with the same speed at equal intervals of time. The maximum height attained by each ball is 20 meters. Here juggler throws the ball vertical upwards. So maximum height reached by the each ball, that is given. Maximum height h is equal to 20 meters. So from this, with what velocity it is projected, we know no. So therefore, maximum height reached is equal to u square by 2z in case of vertically projected body. That is equal to 20 is equal to u square by 2 into g means 10. Therefore, u square is equal to, okay, u is equal to 20 meter per second now. U square is equal to 20 into 20. Therefore, u is equal to 20 meter per second. That means each ball is projected with a velocity 20 meter per second. So we know that value. Okay, now what is the time of descent? Because 4 balls are projected. 4 balls are projected. Here each ball travel upward direction, reaches the maximum height and comes down now. So as 4 balls are projected in equal intervals of time, then the time interval between each ball delta t is equal to time of ascent by 4 parts. You divide the time of time of flight. It is the time of flight. Time of flight of each ball is equal to time of flight by, as 4 balls are projected, by 4 you write. Then that gives the time interval between any two successive balls. Time interval between any two successive balls. Okay, suppose if 5 balls are there, time of flight. Time of flight means total time taken by the body to come back to the initial point. That is the time of flight. Time of flight by, if 5 balls are throwing, then by 5. 6 means 6. As 4 is thrown, by 4. So time of flight means u by z. Sorry, 2u by z. By 4 is there. So this is equal to 2 to the u means velocity of projection 20 by g into 2. That means 2 into g means 10. That is equal to 1 second. So time of flight capital T is equal, time interval. Time interval between successive balls. Time interval between successive balls is equal to 1 second. Time of flight is 4 seconds. So time interval between successive balls is equal to 1 second, means for every after 1 second, he throws the balls. For every after 1 second, he throws the ball. Okay. Yeah, Amtesh Kumar, we can take the screenshot even on laptops also, computers also, by pressing, I think, control, next Microsoft window, alt, something is there, I think. Right. Okay. Okay, you see here, whatever the positions of the balls, no doubt time of flight is 4 seconds, means time of flight 4 seconds means time of ascent is equal to 2 seconds. So from this position, suppose juggler throws the balls. Okay. In 4 seconds, in 1 second, the ball reaches this position. In 2 seconds, the ball reaches the highest point. In 1 second, the ball reaches the position here. Okay. In this way, he throws the balls. You see, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. That means after 3 seconds, the first ball is here. It is the fourth ball, say. After 3 seconds, first ball is here. After 2 seconds, second ball is here. After 1 second, third ball is here. It is first ball, it is second ball, it is third ball. It is the fourth ball. Then fourth ball is ready to leave, ready to throw. So here you see, a juggler keeps 4 balls in air. He throws each ball vertically upward with the same speed at equal intervals of time. You see, first ball is thrown. After 1 second, second ball is thrown. Here, as the first ball is thrown, 1 second after first ball is thrown means already first ball travel for a time 1 second. Then second ball is thrown. Whenever second ball is thrown, after 1 second, second ball comes to this position. After 1 second, first ball comes to this position. After 1 second, again one more ball is thrown. At that time, in 1 second, the first ball comes to this position, second ball reaches this position, third ball reaches this position, and fourth ball ready to project. Okay, then after 1 more second, he throws this ball. At that time, this ball will be in his hand. That means the 4 balls are like this. Okay, now here the question is, find the kinetic energy of the first ball when fourth ball is in hand. When already fourth ball is in the hand, no? Fourth ball is in the hand only. Fourth ball is in the hand. At that time, what is the velocity of the first ball? And what is the kinetic energy of the first ball when fourth ball is in his hand? Okay. When fourth ball is in his hand, then first ball is here. It is coming down. At that time, what is the velocity of this first ball we have to find? What is the time for which the first ball travel? 1 second, 1 second, 1 second means first ball travel for t is equal to 3 seconds. In t seconds, what is the velocity acquired? Initial velocity of projection of the first ball. All balls throw with the same velocity. That's why u is equal to, we got 20 meters per second. No? So what is the velocity of the first ball after 3 seconds? For first ball, initial velocity is equal to 20 meters per second. Acceleration, as the first ball is initially thrown vertically upwards, acceleration is minus g. So that is equal to minus 10 meters per second square. After t is equal to 3 seconds, what is the velocity of the first ball? V is equal to V1. That is question mark. So from V is equal to U plus AT. V means V1, U 0, sorry, not 0, 20 plus A means minus 10 into T means 3. Therefore, V is equal to minus 10 meter per second. Minus sign represents the velocity of the body is in opposite direction when compared with initial projection direction. Initially, the body is projected vertically upwards. Initially, the body is projected vertically upwards. Okay. After 3 seconds, the body is coming down like this. After 3 seconds, the body is coming down like this. Okay. That's why minus sign represents the body, first body travel in opposite direction when compared with initial direction of projection. Therefore, what is the kinetic energy of the first ball after 3 seconds? So after t is equal to 3 seconds, kinetic energy of the first ball is equal to half m into v1 square. So kinetic energy of the first ball is equal to half into mass of the body. Mass of the body is 10 gram. Mass of the each ball is equal to 10 gram given. That is equal to 10 into 10 to the power of minus 3 kilogram. Because answer is given in joule. That's why in SI system we have to substitute. So 10 to the power of minus 2 kg now. So mass means 10 to the power of minus 2 into velocity means just you take the magnitude because minus 10 square plus only because kinetic energy is positive only, no? So 10 square. Here 100, this 100 cancel. Therefore, kinetic energy is equal to 1 by 2 means 0.5 joule, no? So kinetic energy of the first ball after at the instant whenever fourth ball ready to leave is equal to 0.5 joule. It is the answer. Okay. 1.5 or 0.5? 0.5, no? Pavan Shiva. Pavan Shiva, 0.5. You see? Okay. How did you get 10 to the power of minus 2? Here you see, mass of the body is 10 gram, no? 1 gram is equal to how many kilogram? 10 to the power of minus 3 kilogram. So therefore, 10 into 10 to the power of minus 3 means 10 to the power of minus 2, no? It is the mass of each ball. To find the kinetic energy, we had to substitute the mass of the ball, no? Half mv square. That's why half into m means 10 to the power of minus 2 into velocity square means 10 square. So we got 0.5. Okay. Right. Next. Second problem. A stone of, okay, all of you see the next problem. A stone of mass 10 gram thrown vertically upwards. A stone of mass 10 gram, 10 into 10 to the power of minus 3 kgs. That is called 10 to the power of minus 2 kgs. So thrown vertically upwards, its minimum and maximum distance from a fixed point A is, okay, from a fixed point, the minimum and maximum distance is given. Very good. A stone of mass 10 gram is thrown vertically upwards. Its minimum and maximum distance from the fixed point A is 6 meter and 6 root 5 meter. When the stone is at the maximum height, it is at a distance of 10 meter from the point A. Okay. Then find the initial kinetic energy of the ball. Okay, right? All of you, just it is logic only. All of you see the problem. It is also in IIT. Every 11th standard syllabus is in IIT. Vamshi Krishna. Whatever the concepts we are dealing, whatever the problems we are dealing here, Everyone is in IIT and mains. Okay, try to see. A stone of mass 10 gram is thrown vertically upwards. You see here, a stone of mass m thrown vertically upwards with certain velocity. Of course, that velocity is not given. A stone of mass 10 gram is thrown vertically upwards with certain velocity. That velocity is not given. Say u. The minimum and maximum distance from a fixed point. Suppose this is a fixed point. It is a fixed point. There is a fixed point A, say. Here the stone is projected vertically upwards like this. As long as it is moving out like this, then the shortest, the minimum distance between the projected body and this fixed point. To obtain the minimum distance or closest approach, definitely from this fixed point, you draw a perpendicular line onto the vertically projected body. It is a minimum distance. That minimum distance is given 6 meter. Minimum and maximum distance from the fixed point A is 6 meter and 6 root 5 meter. When the stone is at the maximum height, when the stone is at the maximum height means here final velocity is 0. When the stone is at the maximum height, the distance of that body from the fixed point, that is equal to 10 meter given. And then whenever the body is here, the distance is maximum, no? Because this distance is given. Whenever the body is here, at the instant whenever the body is thrown, at the time the distance of the body from the fixed point is maximum, which is equal to 6 root 5. In this way, the distances are given. Then what about the initial kinetic energy of the ball? Initial kinetic energy of the ball means at this point, initial kinetic energy, at the instant whenever it is projected, what is the initial kinetic energy? Already it is the point of projection, that is say B. It is the highest point, say C. From the point B, whenever the body is projected, at the point B, what is the total energy of the body? It is the reference line, because the body is projected from this point. It is the reference line. That's why total energy of the body at this point is equal to kinetic energy itself, because it is on the ground only. Potential energy is 0. That's why here kinetic energy, initial kinetic energy of the body is Ki. Or in case of vertically projected body, total energy of a body remains same at every point, no? That's why total energy at A is equal to total energy at B. Total energy at B is equal to total energy at C. Okay, total energy at B means that is equal, that implies total energy at B means that is the initial kinetic energy only. Potential energy is 0. That's why Ki plus 0. Total energy at C means kinetic, because it is the highest point, so kinetic energy is 0 plus potential energy is equal to mg into h. H means maximum height reached by the body, that is h. Okay, therefore from this initial kinetic energy is equal to mg into h. Suppose this distance is say s1, this distance is say s2. H is equal to s1 plus s2, no? So mg into s1 plus s2. S1 s2 can be obtained by geometry, no? Here this, in this right angle triangle, this is minimum distance, this hypotenuse is known. This, what is this value? Square root of this square minus this square. Therefore s2 is equal to square root of this square minus this square, means 10 square minus 6 square. That is s2 value. Already we know by Pythagoras principle. 100 minus 36. 100 minus 36 means 64. That is equal to 8 meter, no? So s2 is equal to 8 meter. Then what about this distance s1? S1 is equal to square root of this square minus this square, no? Square root of 6 root 5 whole square minus 6 square. 6 root 5 whole square means 6 square into root 5 square means 6 square into 5 minus 6 square. When you take 6 square common, root of 5 minus 1 means 4. That means root of 6 square into 4. Therefore 6 square into 2 square means 12, no? 12. Therefore height is equal to s1 plus s2, that is equal to 8 plus 12, that is equal to 20 meter. Therefore initial kinetic energy is equal to, we got mgh. Initial kinetic energy is equal to mgh only, no? So that is equal to, m means mass of the body is already 10 to the power of minus 2, into g means 10, into h means height is equal to 20 meter, no? So 20. Here this 0, these two zeros cancel. Therefore kinetic energy, initial kinetic energy is equal to 2 joule. Initial kinetic energy is equal to, yeah, very good. Naveen Pawan, okay, very good. Okay, by this method also we can do. Here, by this maximum height reached, we can find the max in case of vertically projected body. When you know this maximum height h value, then that is equal to u square by 2z we can write now, because maximum height reached by the vertically projected body is equal to u square by 2z. H is equal to u square by 2z. You find u square. Then at this point, what is the kinetic energy they asked? So half mu square. When you know u square value, then we can find half mu square. Directly we can do. That also one way to find. Okay. Here, the body is projected vertically upwards, and there is a fixed point here or here. There is a fixed point, say A. While it is moving upwards, the short minimum distance between the body and this fixed point is 6 given. Minimum distance means while moving vertically upward direction, minimum distance, to obtain the minimum distance from this point, you have to draw a perpendicular line onto this vertical path. Then this is the minimum distance between the body and this fixed point. Okay. Okay, it is the minimum. Okay, now are you hearing my voice? Are you hearing my voice now? Right. Okay, all of you look at the third problem. All of you see the third problem. All of you see third problem. All of you read third problem. Okay. So when you see the third problem, are you getting any idea to solve the problem? If you are getting idea, then when I do the problem, just you compare. So if your idea is okay, then well, otherwise you have to improve your ideas to solve the problem, to crack the problems. Okay. Right. Third one. A particle of mass 1 kg is moving in the xy plane whose position at an instant t is equal t is r is equal to 3 sine. Okay, position vector is given at a time, at any time t, at a time at a time t. The position vector of the particle r bar is equal to 3 sine 2t into I cap plus 3 of 1 minus cos 2t into j cap. All are given in SI system only. Kinetic energy of the particle at the instant t is, kinetic energy of the particle at the instant t, they asked what is kinetic energy. Kinetic energy of the particle at any at the instant t is question mark. Okay, so you see here velocity vector v bar as the position vector of the particle given, which varies with time. Then velocity vector is equal to, we can write dr bar by dt. No, that is equal to d by dt of, what about r bar? R bar means 3 sine 2t I cap plus just you multiply 3 j cap or 3 into 1 minus cos 2t into j cap. Okay, when you differentiate them, you see first d by dt of this term plus d by dt of this term. Okay, d by dt of this one means 3 is constant, I cap is constant. You keep aside 3 I cap into d by dt of sine 2t plus here 3 is constant and j cap is constant, unit vector, that is you keep aside, into d by dt of 1 minus cos 2t. d by dt of 1 minus cos 2t. Okay, now we differentiate them. 3 I cap into differentiation of sine 2t with respect to t is equal to cos 2t into 2, no, because coefficient of t is 2, that's why into 2, because in differentiation we have to multiply with the coefficient, in integration we have to divide with the coefficient, plus 3j cap into 3j cap into here differentiation of constant is 0, so minus is there, minus d by dt of minus cos 2t, minus you write aside, cos 2t means minus sin 2t into 2, because coefficient of t is 2. Therefore you see here 3 into 2 6 cos 2t I cap plus here minus means plus, no, so plus you will get 2 into 3 6 j cap into sin 2t, that means 6 sin 2t into j cap. It is the velocity vector. Therefore what is the kinetic energy? Therefore they asked the kinetic energy of a body. Kinetic energy is equal to half m v square, no, sub half m v square. Suppose if you take the modulus here, you take the magnitude. Magnitude means square root of, what is the magnitude? Magnitude is equal to square root of this square plus this square. That means time function is there. Time function will be remained if you do so, but time is not mentioned. That's why here this v square can be written as half m into v bar dot v bar, no, the dot product between two similar vectors, the dot product between two dot product between two similar vectors is equal to v bar dot v square, no. That's why we can write this v square as v bar dot v bar, that is equal to half m into, what is the m value? Mass of the particle is given as 1 case, so mass of the particle is given as 1 case. Therefore half into mass 1 case into dot product between v bar and v bar. V bar means, how we can write dot product between v bar and v bar means, tell me, coefficient of I cap into coefficient of I cap into coefficient of I cap. That means 6 cos 2t into 6 cos 2t. Both are same vectors, no. That's why 6 cos 2t whole square plus j cap coefficients product. That means j cap coefficient here is 6 sin 2t. Another one is also same. That's why 6 sin 2t whole square. You take 6 square common, 1 by 2 into, you take 6 square common in both the terms. Then when you take the common, cos square 2t plus sin square 2t you will get. Okay, cos square 2t plus sin square 2t means 1. Therefore 6 square by 2. 6 square means 36 by 2. That implies kinetic energy of the body is equal to 18 joule. This is the answer. In this way we have to do. Yeah, kinetic energy is equal to 18 joule. Very good. Okay, next, fourth and fifth problems in this you do. Passage 1 you do. Fourth and fifth problems you do. I will say sixth problem, last problem. Okay, if possible seventh problem also I will explain, otherwise you have to do. If time permits I will explain. Now sixth problem, we will do sixth problem. All of you read the sixth problem. Fourth and fifth problems you have to do at your home today, homework. Okay, right. Sixth problem. In the system shown, in figure, mass m is released from the position A. Suppose potential energy of m at the point A with respect to point B is capital E. Dimensions of m are negligible and all surfaces are smooth. When mass m reaches the point B, then match the following. Okay. Have you seen the problem? Okay, right. Right, you see. In which, Siddharth, in which question you are asking? Which question you are asking, Siddharth? Second, and in which question you are asking, Siddharth? Third problem. In problem 3. Yeah. In problem 3, option 4 also correct, because it does not depends on time. When you have calculated the kinetic energy, there is no t term. No, that's very good. There is no t term. That's why it does not depends on the time. That answer is also correct. Yeah, very good. Siddharth, you are right. Okay. Yeah, third and fourth options are correct. Next. Okay, Aish Setpati. Okay, we will see which are correct. We have to see. Okay, right. Here, I think you have seen the problem. Now, all of you look at the board. It is this model is very important. All of you see. In the system shown in figure, mass m is released from position A. Here, this is the position A. Here, actually, you see, it is the wedge. In wedge, there is a circular gap is there, or spherical gap is there of radius capital R. Okay, this is totally, it is the wedge. Wedge means it is a bulk body having definite shape. Okay, now it is a smooth curve, smooth semicircular curve. This wedge is kept on the smooth horizontal surface. Here in the system shown in figure, mass m is released from the position A. From this position A, the mass m is released. The dimensions of this mass is negligible. Suppose the potential energy of, that is not to m, that is m. Potential energy of m at a point A with respect to B. With respect to B, the potential energy of this body is given. That's why you take this as the reference line. This as the reference line. The potential energy of that body A with respect to B, potential energy of A, potential energy of the body when it is at A is equal to given as capital E. Of course, as the body is released from this point, initially its velocity is also 0. Initial velocity is also 0. Okay, now dimensions of m are negligible and all the surfaces are smooth. Here this surface is smooth and the surface on which this wedge is kept, that is also smooth. It is also smooth. So whenever the smooth surface are there, The body, when you release this body, the body comes down because of gravity. Gravity that acts on the body along vertically downwards direction. But along horizontal direction, there is no force acts on the system, no? You see, whenever the body comes down like this, then normal reaction due to this wedge acts on the body. That is the internal force. Because in the system, there are two bodies, this mass and mass of this block 2m. These are the two bodies in a system. Here, whenever the body comes down like this, on this system, gravitational force acts vertically downwards direction. Gravitational force of this particle acts vertically downwards direction. Gravitational force acts on this wedge vertically downwards direction. But along horizontal direction, there is no force act. Okay, whenever the body comes from this position to like this, here, the surface, as the body travel along the circular path here like this, then centrifugal force acts on the body. That centrifugal force is away from the center in this direction. At the same time, normal action acts here. That normal reaction exerted by this surface on the body is the internal force. Because of internal forces, the total energy does not alter. Okay, so even because of gravity also, total energy does not change. Okay, now, but along horizontal direction, only along horizontal direction on the block, internal force component only acts. Because of internal forces, the total movement of the body does not change. Total movement of the system does not change. When external force acts on the system, then only the movement of the body undergoes changes. So along horizontal direction, as no force acts, no external force acts, law of conservation of linear momentum is applicable. When no external force acts on the system, total momentum is conserved, no? So initially, whenever the body is here, whenever the body just before drops this body, its velocity is 0 and velocity of the wedge is also 0. That's why initial momentum of the system is 0. But whenever the body comes to this position, suppose the moment here, as long as the body comes down like this, it acquires some speed, no? That's why it is having momentum p1. Here this is a m1, this is a m2. So momentum p1, and at the same time this wedge will move back. What is the reason? Here, as long as the body comes down here, centrifugal force acts in this direction and weight component of this, you see, whenever the body is here, weight mg acts in downwards direction. Okay, centrifugal here, whenever the body comes down here, as it comes down through certain distance, it loses potential energy. That loss of potential energy, because of loss of potential energy, it acquires some kinetic energy. But loss of potential energy here is not exactly equal to kinetic energy, because this wedge is also in motion. Wedge also moves. If wedge is fixed, definitely loss of potential energy is equal to gain in kinetic energy. We can write directly. But here, as the wedge is also in motion, what is the reason why the wedge will move? Whenever the body moves like this, then here you see the centrifugal force. If the velocity of the body at this point is say v, then centrifugal force acts on the body away from the center is say mv square by r. With this force, the body pushes the wedge, this curved surface of the wedge, in this direction. Their component acts in vertical direction and in this direction. Because of vertical component of this force, mv square by r into, suppose this angle say theta, then this is theta. Then this vertical component is mv square by r into cos theta. Horizontal component is mv square by r sin theta. Because of horizontal component of centrifugal force, the wedge, this centrifugal force component mv square by r sin theta acts on the wedge. That's why the wedge will move towards left. Okay, and because of gravity, the block comes down like this. So definitely at the instant whenever this body reaches the lowest point, it acquires some velocity. Due to that, it is having some momentum, and as the wedge travel in this direction, this wedge is also having momentum say p1, wedge is having momentum say p2, body is having momentum pa say, and wedge is having momentum say pb. Now along horizontal direction, initially the body is at rest and wedge is also at rest. That's why both are having momentum 0. But whenever the body reaches the point b here, total moment, whenever the body reaches the bottom of the curved surface, at the time momentum of the body is say, sorry, it is say p1, it is say p2, not pb. total moment of the system at A and at B along horizontal direction must be same, because along horizontal direction there is no force, external force acts on the system. Total momentum at A means whenever the body is at A, there is no motion in the this wedge and this body also. That's why total momentum is 0. Whenever the body reaches the point here, the moment of the body is say PA and P1, and moment of the wedge is say P2. Then P1 is equal to minus P2, that is equal to say P. That means moment of the body and wedge both are equal in magnitude, but minus sign represents they are in opposite direction. That's why you consider the magnitude of moment of the two. Both are equal, that is say P. Now you apply the law of conservation of energy principle. You apply the law of conservation of energy principle. So from this, how we can find the momentum? You see, whenever this body comes from this position to this position, then it loses potential energy. It loses potential energy because of loss of potential energy, according to conservation of energy principle. Law of conservation of energy principle. Whenever the body comes from this position to this position, as it falls through a height r, then it loses potential energy. So loss of change in potential energy plus change in kinetic energy is equal to 0. That means there is no change in the energy of the system. Energy remains constant, but one form will be converted into another form. Okay, now here whenever the body comes from this position to this position, there is a loss of potential energy. There is a loss of potential energy. Loss of potential energy is minus mass of the body m g into whenever the body comes from this position to this position, it comes down through a distance equal to r. This is the loss of potential energy. Plus gain in kinetic energy means whenever this body comes to this position, due to loss of this kinetic energy, potential energy, there is a gain in kinetic energy by the system. What is the gain in kinetic energy? Initially, whenever the body is, okay, we can write conservation of energy principle also. According to law of conservation of energy, we can write in easy way also. According to law of conservation of energy, total energy at A is equal to total energy at B for the system. Total energy at A means you take this as the reference line, because this body comes to the lowest point here. That is, so the horizontal line passing through this point is the reference line. From the reference line, as the body is at a height h, then it is having potential energy. That potential energy of the body at A is given as E. Potential energy of the body at A. Okay, potential energy of the body at A is UA plus kinetic energy KA. Okay, and this wedge is having no potential energy. The wedge is having no potential energy. Okay, you write the formulas directly. Symbols means we will get number of symbols. You write directly. So initially, total energy of the system at whenever the body is at A means no doubt from the reference line, as the body is at a height h, it is having potential energy that is given as E. That is given as E in the problem. That's why E plus kinetic energy is 0. For the wedge, there is no motion in the body, and as we have taken the reference line here, then as we have taken this reference line, with respect to this reference line, the potential energy is also 0. That's why 0, 0 is equal to whenever the body comes to this position, potential energy with respect to reference line, as this body reaches this position here, the potential energy of the body, this body is 0, and wedge is also 0, because along vertical direction there is no change in the position of the wedge. That's why 0 plus kinetic energy. Whenever the body, this particle or body reaches the point here, as the momentum is P1, kinetic energy of that body is equal to P1 square by 2 into mass of the particle, plus at the same time as the momentum is P2 for the particle. Indukante whenever the body comes from this position to this position, as the momentum of the this wedge is P2, it is having kinetic energy. That's why kinetic energy of the block wedge is equal to P2 square by 2 into mass of the wedge is given as 2m. Therefore, E is equal to, but P1, P2 both are equal in magnitude, which is equal to say P. Then you write, instead of P1, P2, you write P. So P square by 2m plus P square by 4m. Take LCM, 4m. Then 3P square you will get, no? Because 2m is there, 4m here. So when you take LCM, 2m 2s are 2 into P square, 2P square plus P square, 3P square. Therefore, here what they ask now, you have to check the options. Now, in column 1, first point is kinetic energy of small m. Kinetic energy of small m means Km is equal to moment of that particle p1 square by 2 into small m. P1 square means from this formula what is p value? From this formula what is p value? P square is equal to 4me by 3. No, from this p square is equal to 4me by 3 we can write. So p square means 4me by 3 by 2m. 2m 2s are. Therefore, kinetic energy of the mass m whenever the particle reaches this position is equal to Km is equal to 2e by 3. This is, so here it matches 2e by 3 means q. So AQ is correct in the problem. Next B. For B, kinetic energy of 2m they asked. Kinetic energy of 2m. So what is the kinetic energy of the 2m mass? 2m mass means wedge. Kinetic energy of 2m is equal to moment of the wedge P2 square by 2 into mass of the wedge 2m. P2 means that is P only, P square by 4m. That is equal to P square means from this P square is equal to 4me by 3. No, so 4me by 3 by 4m. 4m cancel. So E by 3. Therefore, K2m is equal to E by 3. Okay, this is the kinetic energy of the 2m mass whenever the particle comes to B. So E by 3 means option P. So B matches P. Next C. Momentum of small m. Momentum of small m is equal to P1. Whenever this particle reaches the point here, momentum of small particle means P1 we imagine. P1 is equal to P only. That P is equal to question mark. Already from this P square is equal to this one. P means root 4me by 3 now. Root 4me by 46. Just last point. Momentum of 2m. D. So here C matches 4me by 3 means R. But D. Momentum of 2m. Momentum of 2m is P2. That is also equal to P only. No, P1, P2 both are equal in magnitude. That's why this is also equal to this only. Square root of 4me by 3. Therefore, for this D also, the matching here in the column 2, this will be matched. That's why D, R both are correct. It is the matching. In this way, you have to do the matching. Okay. Whenever campus will start, we cannot say that it will be decided by the government. Okay. Right, Nana? Here, these problems, you do 7th problem in next, in practice sheet. In practice sheet, you have to do, you note down, in practice sheet, page number 292. All of you write down. Page number 292. All of you note down. Page number 292, problem numbers 1 to 6. 1 to 6. Next, this is in level 1. Okay, in level 2, you write in level 2, 1 to 5. 1 to 5, you do. 1 to 5. Next, page number 294. Page number 294. Exercise 2. Exercise 2. Problem numbers 1 to 7. 1 to 7. Okay. Next, page number 295. 1 to 3. 1 to 3. Okay, do these problems. Okay. Next page number. Okay, I will send the assignment. In that assignment, you do some problems. Okay, right here. Definitely somebody. Okay, Madhur, not Madhur. Deepika Bhavani. Okay, I think some student name, student's mother name, I think. Okay, whatever it may be. I'm new joiner. How we can cope up with you? As you are new joining, already so far whatever the topics completed, I uploaded in the YouTube. So now and then you go through those topics. Kinematic chapter. Only 2 chapters, I think 2-3 chapters are over. Kinematic chapter. Next friction. Okay, motion of a body in a plane. Just you go through those YouTube videos so that you can understand. Okay, live class only there. Okay. Yeah, it is in CBSE syllabus. Nandakishore. In CBSE, these points are there, but number of applications are not there. So here we discussed the number of applications also. Okay, right, Nana? Have a nice day. Take care. So you prepare well for tomorrow's exam. You do all these problems. Right. Bye.